A staggering number of people dream of taking that famous family recipe and turning it into a thriving business. But let's be real, the food industry, it totally eats amateurs for breakfast. It takes a whole lot more than just baking a killer chocolate chip cookie to build a profitable empire. So the question is, are you ready to actually make it happen? Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking the ultimate roadmap to launching a successful food venture. From that very first light bulb moment all the way to tracking your hard-earned profits, we're cutting right through the noise. We're going to map out exactly what it takes to build a food business totally from the ground up.
Okay, let's dive into this. We're tackling this whole process through a 4-phase culinary blueprint. 1. Defining your food concept. 2. The blueprint and legalities. 3. Operations and brand building. And finally, 4. Marketing and financial management.
All right, starting right off with Phase 1, defining your food concept. This is all about choosing your model and researching the market.
So the very first major decision you have to make is figuring out the scale of your operation. And hey, good news, you really don't need hundreds of thousands of dollars just to get your foot in the door. While sure, a traditional brick-and-mortar restaurant is a high-investment model that requires massive capital, something like a home-based bakery or a lean meal prep service, that represents a highly profitable, really low-budget entry point. The takeaway here is that there's a realistic starting line for absolutely every budget.
Finding your sweet spot actually comes down to a really simple, completely non-negotiable formula. It's your passion, plus market demand, plus your available budget, and that equals the right business model. It's basically a three-legged stool, right? You have to love it, people have to actually want to buy it, and you absolutely must be able to afford the launch.
Now, once you've nailed down your model, you have to validate the market. Imagine you want to open a burger joint, but your local research shows there are already 10 burger shops in your neighborhood. I mean, that's a saturated bloodbath. But what if there are 0 healthy meal prep services? Wow, okay, now that is a golden market gap. Finding and solving an unmet need like that, it drastically reduces your business risk right out of the gate.
Moving right along to Phase 2, the blueprint and legalities. We're looking at planning your business and staying compliant.
Every successful venture needs a roadmap. Your business plan has to include these 5 absolute essentials. You need a business overview, a clearly defined target market, a marketing strategy, an operations plan, and, honestly, most critically, a highly detailed financial plan. And listen, this isn't just busy work. It's the exact tool you're going to use to secure bank loans and, more importantly, keep yourself grounded when the kitchen inevitably gets chaotic.
Speaking of finances, the single most critical number in that entire plan is 12. You must, and I mean must, create highly realistic financial projections for your first 12 months. Most of those unexpected hurdles and, honestly, most business failures, they happen in year 1. Having a 12-month financial runway meticulously mapped out, that is absolutely non-negotiable for your survival.
Okay, next up is getting legal. It's a pretty strict progression. You start with basic business registration, then move on to securing your tax and employee permits. But the absolute bottleneck in this industry, that's securing your local health and food handling permits. Seriously, do not rush this part. Ignoring health regulations is hands down the fastest way to get permanently shut down before you even sell your very first plate.
Actually, I want you to totally reframe how you view those regulations. Think of it this way. Legal compliance literally equals customer trust. Food safety isn't just some annoying bureaucratic hurdle you have to jump over. It's the absolute foundation of your entire relationship with the public. Think about it. If they don't trust your kitchen, they are not going to eat your food, period.
All right, that brings us to Phase 3, operations and brand building. Setting up the kitchen and creating your identity.
So your physical operations, they require the right cooking equipment, proper storage, dedicated prep stations, and really reliable suppliers. But I want you to pay special attention to standardized recipes. This, right here, is a total game changer. Consistency is the main difference between an amateur and a total pro. If someone comes in and falls in love with a dish on a Tuesday, it has to taste exactly the same when they bring all their friends back on a Saturday.
Now, while your kitchen handles the consistency side of things, your brand handles the connection. I absolutely love this quote. People don't just buy food, they buy experiences and stories. It's so true, right? Your brand colors, your logo, your unique vibe, whether that's some wild neon food truck aesthetic or a super cozy family recipe feel, that is what truly makes you memorable in what is an incredibly crowded market.
Which leads us perfectly into Phase 4, marketing and financial management. This is all about selling your concept and tracking the money.
Here's the harsh reality, folks. The absolute best food in the world will just sit and rot in the fridge if nobody knows about it. So here is your digital marketing menu. You've got to leverage platforms like Instagram and TikTok. And no, don't worry, you do not have to do any trendy dances. Just focus on high-quality food photos, cool behind-the-scenes prep videos, glowing customer reviews, and maybe even partnering with some local influencers. You really have to actively build a hungry community online.
And why are those visuals so incredibly important? Because as the saying goes, people eat with their eyes first. If your food looks absolutely mouth-watering on a smartphone screen, people are going to tag their friends. They're going to share your posts. It sparks this incredibly powerful word-of-mouth marketing before anyone has even taken a single bite.
But, right behind all that flashy marketing is a very, very tight financial reality. Just look at how your revenue actually breaks down across things like food costs, labor, utilities, and marketing expenses. Margins in the food industry are notoriously razor-thin, so tracking every single slice of this expense pie, ruthlessly minimizing waste, and constantly monitoring your inventory, that is exactly what prevents the hidden financial leaks that end up sinking so many promising restaurants.
Okay, let's pull all of this together. Here is your complete culinary blueprint, the 8 core steps we've just covered. You should absolutely use this as your master checklist, because if you properly structure your launch, if you completely respect the legalities, standardize your kitchen, and just obsess over your margins, you are setting yourself up for real long-term success.
So I'm going to leave you with this thought. What is your unique concept? Like, what are you going to serve the market that they literally can't get anywhere else? You've got the blueprint now, you know the exact steps, and you know what it really takes behind the scenes, so the only question left is, are you ready to launch? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and honestly, I